Please give a Milwaukee welcome to Kendall.
When I try to explain lumberjack sports to people, I say it's basically traditional forestry in competition form. And I think the reason that I love it so much is because it's dangerous and because it requires a lot of precision and a lot of skill. But not only that, it takes us back to our roots. You know, the people who helped tame America. They were the foresters. They were the pioneers. It keeps me fit. It gets me traveling the world and meeting all sorts of really cool people. And I have the opportunity to inspire. And I never thought that that was actually, you know, going to be meaningful to anyone, but I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, I'm really just blown away by what you do. You know, you're a small female in a male-dominated sport, and yet you just give your all the time. And that makes me want to do more, to be more, to try something that I always thought I couldn't because I'm a female or because I'm too small or because I'm too big. You know, I'm just not the right person for it. It encourages people to break the mold and to pursue things that they never thought possible.
Dozen roses, the lights in Georgia, dressed in captivating eyes, with that denim on your thighs. Hey, whiskey poet, love the backbeat, all the streets that turn to sand. Took the night, I took your hand, I see your colors. You took some chances, how the silence is your friend, as will I be in the end. Oh, the wind has hushed me once again. Gave a dream. You were my roadhouse, little shelter, gonna complicated things. Rest in tired wings, tell me secret, some buried treasure. Go away and dream away to dawn on the morning with a song. So this is this, and then there's that. Be the lonely, I'll be blessed while you run wild around my chest. Oh,
I'm Erin, 37 years old, from Spokane, Washington, which is where I still live. I've ventured out, lived in Virginia Beach for a couple years, but home is my home in the Northwest. I love it there. 8 years this month, I opened up a CrossFit gym, and that's what I do. Spend my time doing CrossFit, coaching other people to do CrossFit and life, and compete in lumberjack sports. You know, I grew up in between two brothers. Mom and Dad divorced when we were young, so they worked hard and they weren't home, so it was me and my brothers kicking it, and you know, we ran around swamps, picked up snakes, played sports. I was one of the boys, and I never did like the hair and makeup and the baby dolls and strollers and all of that. I've always, I think, been tough. I think if you cry, you're you're behind, you're missing out. Like the no excuses thing, I mean, everybody's always going to have an excuse. There's always a reason maybe why you didn't win or why you're not ready. But what it comes down to is, what are you going to do about it? I mean, if something happens, don't spend time crying about it, just fix it. And that's kind of the way I've always been. I know the other competitors kind of think that I've been called a bitch and just kind of mean and kind of bad names, but it really is. Maybe it's like resting bitch face, I don't know, but I'm there for one purpose. They're great girls and I love hanging out with most of them, but when it's game time for me. I've been approached a couple of times with helping girls out, and I'll give them tips at competitions and things if they're already competing. You have to show me a lot of dedication in order for me to give you my little time that I have to spare. I'm just busy, and the time that I have, I put into myself still, because I'm still at that competitive level. And I've been burned where I've put in a lot of time to people and they don't care. So it's like, I just don't have that time to waste.
Sportsmanship is very important. And we're supposed to be a family of competitors. Yes, we compete against each other. Yes, we want to win. We want to beat the other person. We want to destroy them. But still, at the end of the day, we're a family of competitors. We love the sport. We want it to grow. So we have to work together. So I guess there is a bit of respect in and amongst that competitive animosity. I know you're looking for drama and stuff, and I really don't have much drama. I really do feel like I'm a private person, but at the same time, I'm a very honest person, so that almost forces me to be open. So it's kind of treacherous waters. I don't know, I wouldn't say that it's hard to talk about, but it's just kind of weird to talk about it because it's in the past now. Lawrence was always just such a champion, whether he was competing for himself or whether he was coaching me. Just always very dedicated, very loyal. To lose that aspect of the relationship and that closeness was hard, but I'm learning as I'm getting older that just life is just a constant change. It's always in flux, and you kind of gotta just roll with it. I was blessed with the time that I had, but I definitely really appreciated his support in the woodchopping. I wouldn't be where I am today without him, for sure. As much as I loved him, it was just gonna be a little too tricky, I think. I'm grateful for the new gentleman who's in my life, and he's been a very kind and faithful supporter of me as I go about my wood chopping, which is important. I've dated people who were, I guess, insecure about the wood chopping, and that just added so much stress to the relationship. Yeah, I'm gone so much. There's got to be trust, and there's got to be that flexibility. And, you know, if they're a little too needy, a little too concerned I'm going to be too buff and maybe more buff than they are, that's a problem.
My name is Tracie Henning. This is Drake Henning. I don't want to tell you my age, but I'm 39. I'm from Walworth, New York. It was a sport. They provided it at the college I went to. I knew nothing about the sport before. The coach said I had a natural talent, and I went to my first competition within like weeks. Came home, told my boyfriend at the time that I joined the lumberjack team. He went to school and he became a lumberjack, so we're a big lumberjack family. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I manage it sometimes. My dad flew in from Rochester just to be a backup for me and my husband, because we're both competing this time. There's definitely times I feel like I'm like not the best mom in the world, because like he's little and I should be like giving every moment I can to him, but like I want to do this so bad too. It's like a struggle of like being a good mom and being a good lumberjack, and it's so hard. It's like, it's very hard. But I have a support system. Chris runs around and gets everything ready for me while I'm chasing Drake around. And then either we have other competitors like watch Drake while we're in the middle of a competition, and then I got to run back to Drake. So it's just added an extra stressor.
It's tough. To be honest with you, during a competition, not much has changed for me. I set things up, I set the equipment up, I set the blocks up, I do it all, and I still do, and she chases Drake around now. Just on a mental game, trying to maintain your focus with having your kid there to look after and watch. It's tough.
My proudest moments are my dad's proudest moments. Like, he has a wedding picture of me cross-cutting with my husband and shows people still. He sees how hard I work at the things that I do. I want to make those two men and Drake very proud. I know they would be proud of me no matter how I place, but seeing me on a podium in front of thousands of people and then on TV is just another thing they can be proud of me for.
And when she went to college, she comes home and she goes, I know exactly what I want to do. I'm going to do Timbersports. And I go, Timbersports. And what does that consist of? She goes, you chop wood and you saw wood. Okay, so she went from cheerleader softball to this sport. She does train like crazy. I think this is probably going to be her last year. She wants to spend a little more time with Drake. And, it's tough for parents to be going to these competitions and chasing around a 2.5-year-old. They definitely work hand in hand with each other. Chris is great. They're a great couple. They love each other. They got a great child. Anything they do, he wants to do. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised when he's whatever the age is. At 7, it's in Australia, so it's probably 8 or 9 here before he can start competing. And now they can watch him grow and be an athlete, if that's what his choice is.
Women's Division National Champion.
So my name is Kendall Cornelius. I am 26 years old. I currently live in New Hampshire, but I'm a proud Vermonter at heart. I was born in St. Albans, Vermont, and I moved down to Barnet, Vermont. And it's a very tiny little town, and that has really affected me as a person growing up. It's kind of what makes me who I am, the rural person that I am. And growing up, my father and I were not always very close. My dad is a really strict person at heart. He's not austere, but he's definitely well-disciplined, and he's a very hard worker. I was rarely in the house when I was younger. I was always outside with him. It was a rare occasion when we were not picking rocks out in the fields and in the gardens. Certainly made me understand the value of hard work, and I think that truly is one of my strengths in this sport, is I understand what it takes to become someone who's really proficient. So I was never somebody who was into the typical girly things. I went to a high school that had a very strict dress code. We could wear skirts and dresses and collared shirts and blouses and dress clothes, and I always struggled with that. I am just not somebody who appreciates makeup and doing your hair and always looking just so. It was a little shocking when I found the Woodsman's team at UNH. And I kind of knew as soon as I got on the team and started chopping and sawing that my world was going to shift really quickly. So much of the requirements truly fit my personality and who I was. I was a larger person growing up in middle school and high school, and I was really not encouraged to do contact sports because people end up getting hurt. I'm an incredibly competitive person. I have a nasty habit of throwing elbows. So I never really had found that sport besides riding that I was really able to dedicate myself to physically, mentally, and emotionally. Audiences don't realize what the rift is between the men and the women in terms of prize money and in terms of opportunities. Women now have their own professional series, and that's awesome. But, we have to pay $180 for our entry fee into the Stihl series, and we cut one block, and we make a total of 3 slices of wood. The men pay $180 and they get 3 blocks and 5 slices of wood. We pay the same entry fee for less opportunity to win prize money that the men do. We still have our same cost in gear and travel and all this stuff. It costs us just as much to enter this competition as the men. I think the best way for us as women in the sport to get our point across that we are, I don't even want to say worthy, that we need to have the same prize money opportunity as the men is to show the amount of skill that we have. We aren't going to compete in the men's events nearly as effectively as the men. It's just a fact, and it's not a fact that I'm afraid of. We just have to have our own division. But that doesn't mean that we are any less competitive within each other. And I think we just need to step up and show them just how serious we are, them being the general public, the show organizers, the world, the people sponsoring these events, and say, why would you even consider us being worth less money than the men? There's still people out there who just believe women shouldn't be doing this, and they will not and never will. I'd like to think that we are on our way towards equity. I think my edge is that I'm just only worried about myself this year. I respect Erin greatly for being the Stonewall Jackson competitor that she is, and that's truly what it takes. You can't come here to be social. You can't come here to, say, oh, I made it to the finals, hooray. It's like, you still have 3 races you need to win. I'm not here to be second. But none of the other 9 women are here to be second either. I don't know how everyone else is feeling about this. I don't care how anyone else is feeling about this. I need to not worry about everyone else. And all I care about is the piece of wood I'm cutting at that moment. I'm not going to be friendly, at all. And, in fact, I was talking with Billy and I was like, your number 1 job for Sunday, I don't want anyone to speak to me. I don't want to see anyone unless I choose to speak to them or see them. I don't want anything to do with anyone. I like a little space and I like to do me on game day. I'm going to come off as a giant ass, but I don't even care. I'm just not capable of feeling okay about a poor performance. Some women are. And it's too bad, and they're okay with doing like a post-interview crying and sobbing. I can't even get words out. I'll be so angry. I can't disappoint myself like that.
It's a lot of mental support, and I think that's really good as a married couple. You kind of understand how the other person works a little bit, and so over the years I've kind of learned some of the right things to say to her at certain times to help, calm her down or help her focus. I mean, there's a lot of lights, there's cameras, and a lot of times you can get stuck on that. It's just you in the woods and focus on your event. You only got to worry about yourself. If you start worrying about all the other competitors, then you lose focus of what you actually have to do.
I'm the Stihl Timbersports Women's Champion for 2019. How does it make me feel? Gosh, it is just a burden lifted off my shoulders. It's this pressure that I've carried for a long time because it's a goal that I've had. Yeah, it just feels like, man, I've arrived. I'm competing against some of the best competitors in the world, and so to take home that title feels awesome. All those hours of sweating, my body breaking down, and mental struggles, just making sure that I was sharp enough and focused enough to compete and be on my A game, to be at my peak at the right time.
Dr. Brantley saw her developing her skill, saw that she was becoming very passionate about it, and said, Martha, you could take this professionally. And I thought, I don't want her to do that. But it's not my life, it's Martha's life. And one of the other things that I have always told our children when they would start to ask questions such as, how do I know where I want to be? How do I know? How do I figure that out? I said, pursue your passions, you'll find your way.
Touch me once again. Gave a dream of you. You were my roadhouse, a little shelter. Gonna complicated things. Resting tired wings tell me secrets. Some buried treasure. Go wait and dream away the dawn of the morning with her songs. So this is this, and then there's that. Be the lonely, I'll be blessed while you run wild around my chest. Oh, the wind. Push me once again.
Instead of putting so much pressure on myself, I said, just have fun. You love this. You love doing this. So just go out there and do what you do. Well, I can't escape the feeling of disappointment, to be honest with you. I've been training my underhand pretty hard, and I was disappointed with my poor performance. For next year, I don't know what I can do different. I really don't. I don't know. Maybe I will give my kid up for like a few months and figure out how to do life. No, really. I'm not gonna get rid of him.
Still the crows from the branches.